going well. Today I was asked the question that what's more important, people, process, or systems? I remember I met the author of Good to Great, Jim Collins, about 15 years ago. And when he wrote Good to Great, and he said, first who, then what. So his whole hypothesis is that you have to select the right people, put them in your bus, in your team, and then ask them where to go to, to what direction to go. So set the direction after you select the team. I asked him a question in an audience of a few thousand people. I said, Mr. Collins, most of middle managers don't have ability to select who, but they still have to deliver what. I mean, when you start in any company or even in your own company, you have a set of problems you have to tackle. And if you already have a team of people, even if you are hired as a director or a manager or any middle manager, even if you are hired as a vice president, not necessarily you can just come in and change your team the next day. You have to work with who is already around. So you cannot select who. You do not have ability to select who. Yes, if you start a new company, you have more opportunity to select who. And yes, you want to find the right people, but still you have the people you are doing this, this work with. So if you don't have ability to select who, but you still have to deliver what, and that what could be any set of problems or challenges. So I asked him, I said, how do you tackle that? And he basically, his answer was that, well, you always have some empowerment to select who. So I kept thinking about it, and this question keep haunting me. But honestly, the answer of this question really helped me look at many things differently. And then I came up with my own model. So what I think is people, process, and system are interrelated. You could really tackle each one, and it will have benefit of tackling each one independently. Yes, they are interconnected, but you need to have not only the right people, but you also need to have a very robust process, and then a very, I will say, open, agile system that work and that can handle the changes and that can adopt the changes. So not only you need just the right people, but you also need process and systems. Each one is needed. But honestly, in my humble opinion, process is far more important. It's right in the middle and it's connect with systems and people. But if you have the right process, then you could actually find the right people and build the right system. And that process is not really just set of logics, but it's also the way you look at the problem. I mean, MIT have several innovation programs, and one of their program is that they take a month off in January, and they have an IAP process. What is that? It's independent activity program, independent activity process. So what they want you to do is they want you to go out and develop something, build something real, build something that can work. And the story of Dropbox is that the founder of Dropbox actually developed his process for Dropbox, in a bus ride from Boston to San Francisco. And even though his prototype didn't ideally work very well, but he was able to set the vision for the process, and then the process was optimized, and hence you have multi-billion-dollar company. So many companies and inventions really happen when people start looking at the problem differently. So if you have that mindset where you can actually start looking at the problem, in a different mode, then you actually not only end up solving your current challenge on hand, but you might be actually solving many other, problems. Many philosophers, when they started thinking about nature and anything else, and then they start asking questions, their way of asking questions to themselves and to the nature and the people around them really open many minds and solve many problems. I mean, there is no good invention that happened without really, asking different questions and looking at the problem differently. Now, MIT again has another, methodology or another process called PSET, problem set. And then, the idea is, and this is a very complex problem set, and the idea is not to find the solution, but to looking at the problem from different angles, that what are knowns and what are unknowns, what could be supposed and what could really be, what could be available. So what really we have on hand and what we don't have on hand, and what are going to be our assumptions. When you deal with the problem this way, when you actually, break down the problem, that's what I call, what problem are you trying to solve? I mean, if you have met Professor Clay Christensen from Harvard Business School, his famous quote used to be, "What problem are we trying to solve?" So we have always need to ask, always, every single day, in every single problem, in every single meeting, or when we are pondering ourselves, what problem are we trying to solve? Because that whole mindset really bring you back to the right focus, and you end up actually being very, very efficient. Even if you look at the 5S process in the lean management, that the philosophy is also having your tools, shine, clean, set aside, set in order, and then, the whole thing is put in a certain process, and then a system is developed, so you don't waste your time, and you can grab what you need and you can put back in the right shelf what you don't need. So that really, the whole concept of, process development start from asking the right questions. If you can start asking the right questions, or asking, any questions, not just from, what the apparent one, but non-apparent one. I mean, think about it. How was penicillin invented? Got invented. Penicillin was invented when actually Louis Pasteur was actually looking at a different problem. There are many, many inventions who got invented, this way, because the inventor kept asking himself and the team, questions that, what about this? What about that? What do we know about this? What we don't know about this? And then you have a great invention, whether that is, the electric car, or whether that is the cell phone, whether that is, any invention, even the camera. I mean, even the gravity, all those, things came into existence because people ask questions, and they are not afraid of failure. Because if you are afraid of failure, let me assure you that every major invention or success has many, many failures around it. And it is really the failure where you learn more, because success can sometimes make you blind, and a quick success make you more blind. And then you may become more egoistic and may not actually, expand your horizon. So when you have a setback or a failure, we should smile, because nature is teaching us that there is more to it, and we need to further develop ourselves. And it really propels you. It propels you. Failures really propels you. If you don't get disappointed, matter of fact, you have an attitude of getting happier with your failure, and then you start looking at the problem in a different way. So what I believe is really, it is the process in the middle, which originate from asking questions, and then as you answer some questions and more questions develop, and then you can connect the dots. When you start connecting the dots, then you can understand any story and you can understand any problem, at least portion of the problem, and you go deep, and hence that's where the solution lies. Every problem and every challenge has a solution and opportunity. If you develop this habit of asking the questions and not being failure of, being mocked or being a failure. So, that's the reason you have seen many societies, those societies who are close minded and they do not encourage asking questions, they unfortunately stay behind. There are many societies in this world, even now, where asking question is almost like a bad thing in the culture. So what happens is that you become a very close society, and that's unfortunately was that was kind of the thing in kingdoms, because kings really say do it this way, don't use your brain, don't use your innovation. So that's where the innovation was. Now when we are living in more open societies, and especially in the West and the United States, we have more open mindedness, and that's the reason you see more inventions here. Why do you not see more inventions in Middle East or Asia, or especially Southeast Asia? Because they are a little more closed societies. And same people like myself who come from Southeast Asia and then come to United States, they really excel because they had a curiosity, mind, but unfortunately they did not have the right environment. When you put those people in the right environment and they have ability to ask the questions, and then they can start connecting dots, and then they actually invent more. I tell you, when I was a little kid, and I was sitting at a barber shop in a small town in Pakistan. There was there was this whole horizon of war, and they were saying, oh, there's going to be a war, there's going to be attack on Pakistan, unfortunately from its neighbor. And people were starting, this is really your CNN over there, because they have every barber shop over there have few newspaper, people read newspaper and then they chit chat, and that was really your best CNN over there. So I was sitting on the chair to get my hair cut, and the barber started getting funny and asked me, hey, Mr. Sheikh. Of course, he was being funny. I was a little kid, but he called me with my last name. He said, hey, Mr. Sheikh, what are you guys going to do if the war happened? And of course, I belong to a business family, and he asked me that question. He was kind of teasing me. I said, what do you think you are going to do? And his answer was very crisp, and that really changed my perspective on life. He said, I'm going to take my set of scissors and set of clippers. He had manual clippers and, of course, hand scissors. He said, I'm going to take these two things in my pocket, and I can go anywhere and cut hairs and make my living. It was very interesting, and I smile. And that gives me a perspective that, hey, you need to have some tool set in your toolkit which are easy to carry, so that no matter where you can go, you can use that toolkit and be an independent mind person, and you can make your living. So I made my mission in life that I will find my toolkit and I will develop those tools, and that such still continue today. So that's the reason I became an engineer. Then I went to even a business school, because that quest continued, that what tools can I have in my toolkit, and how can I increase those tools so they can just not only help me but help others too. And that is my effort, through these live podcasts, that I share those toolkit with you. And you could certainly have your own toolkit, and you can may find some tools here, and then you use those tools to develop your personal life, your family life, your communities, and your companies, and your professional life as well. So that really start by asking the question that what problem are we trying to solve? Whether you sit that and with your family, with your kids, with your siblings, with your friends, in a team meeting, or whether you are developing your company, you should always ask yourself, what problems are we trying to solve, and how do we attack the problem, and then what are knowns and what are unknowns, and what are the assumptions. And then when you start writing those things down, and then you develop a path to the solution. Okay, it's like a puzzle, it's a big puzzle. And like I said, in MIT they have this whole P set process, where problem set, they give you the problem, a very, very complex problem. You don't have to solve that problem, but the idea is that you develop a process and questions, set of questions for the solution. And hence, when many people are looking at that problem and being focused on the problem set, then then you have a team and that finds a solution. Sometimes one person can find a basic solution like the Dropbox, or like Nikolai Tesla or Einstein or any of those people. Yes, some peoples are more blessed and more focused than the others, and hence people are important. But I'm saying you cannot just wait for the right person to come, give you guidance, and then you go and ask the questions. No, we all have this ability internally, where sometime we are introvert and the other time we are extrovert. If you are introvert, you're not asking openly, and you don't have a courage to ask those questions openly, then basically, but you can still ask those questions. Okay, I'm not saying everybody has to become an extrovert, but what I have seen, if you develop this habit of asking questions even to yourself, then this whole being introvert or extrovert goes away, because now you develop a process. And when you follow a process, then it becomes a machine. It becomes really a system for you. Um, so many of those people who may be introvert, but if they really develop that process, they develop that habit, then honestly, they find even other people around them who are maybe more extrovert, and those people then become your sales team. Those people then become your marketing team, and then those who are more introvert, they become your developers. And that's how you build a team, and then that's how you build the system. So I actually have a whole process to actually tackle a problem, and that process, I call it, FACTS. FACTS. I tackle every problem by, first of all, believing that there is a solution, and believing in myself. F stand for faith. Believing in myself that I have ability to solve that problem. And if I don't have ability, then I will ask the right people, some of the questions I need to ask. So first thing, start from believing in yourself that you have ability to solve that problem, and you are going to find a very innovative solution. And the second, thing in that belief, that equation, A stand for actions. You cannot just believe in yourself and take no actions. You got to take actions, and the actions could be as simple as just asking questions to yourself and questions to your team. And then the next step is that not only you believe in yourself and you believe in your process, but you can also believe in God, in bigger being, that is always there to guide you and open your mindset. So you can have a believe in God and believe in higher power, believe in nature, and believe in yourself. Then you need to take actions. And then when you take actions, believe me, whenever you take actions, you will always get either failures or pushback, or some sort of enmity, some sort of isolation. Then you need to have a courage to stand up for what you believe and keep taking actions. Don't get distracted by all those distractions. Distractions come, but those should make you more stronger. It's just like when you're doing weightlifting, you feel pain, but if you give up, you're not going to build muscles. It's actually should make supposed to make you stronger, and it's only going to make you stronger if you keep taking those actions and keep showing your courage. And the next, next step or next thing in this equation, it's FACT. T stand for team. You need to start building the team around yourself and be truthful to this team. So T stand for truth and T stand for team. And you basically have, look, FACT, fact. This is the fact on ground. This the fact spell FACT for a reason. Because this is a fact on ground for you, that basically, you have a faith. This is, you have an action, you take courage, and you build team. So your fact on ground is based on your faith, your action, your courage, your team, and your truth. And then the S stands for sustainable system. Now when you have the fact together, make it plural facts, okay? And then it becomes from single to plural when you build a system. You build a sustainable system, because now you not only have this process, but you also, build a system. And the system I have built, is similar to, like a Toyota production system. And, I was fortunate enough to visit Japan and their Toyota production system, and their set of processes, and they have a whole lean system called Toyota production system. We cannot go deep into that, but I can tell you, I didn't really just take Toyota production system and just copy that. I actually came up to total value system. Your system is based on your value and the value proposition you are going to deliver. So you need to build a total value system. In our next session, we will actually peel the onion on total value system. What is the total value system? But today's discussion is really that, how do you really tackle every single problem every single day, and what questions you ask, and can you connect the dot and build a process. When you do anything from A to Z, what is your process? And I'll give you one more example, and then we will conclude. And that is that I remember when I started my career, uh, our company invited a management consultant to talk to us. And then he said, look, I just want you to put a dot on the paper for each activity you do, from when you wake up from the bed to the to the point when you sit in your car, or when you're ready to leave your house for the office. So put a dot for every activity. So we started putting the dots. And then he said, of course, every single time, you wake up, you drink water, you go to the bathroom, you may come back from the bathroom, or what activities, how much movement you have. And then sometimes people take 3-4 trip from a bathroom to the room, or sometimes people just take one trip. And finding your clothes, pressing your clothes, waiting down, having breakfast, put all those activities. And then he said, now you see, can you actually cut down any of the activity, and then connect them again and see what shape it makes. So of course my shape becomes like a parrot, and then next time it becomes more like a sparrow. So the idea was that, how can you lean yourself and cut that time? And first you see that it's a process, and then how can you lean this process? Every task has a process, and every process can be leaned and make efficient. So that is called continuous improvement, and that became habit of my life. Now honestly, I can actually get ready within, and then you time yourself. You Is it an hour? Is it 45 minutes? It is in half an hour. Is it 15 minutes? And is it really 8 or 7 minutes? So I build this habit that every single day I'm going to challenge myself, that how I get ready faster. And it has become a continuous improvement process in your life. And can you really put that in every single thing you do in your life, that you have a process and you then turn that process into system, but can you do a continuous improvement in your process on your daily basis? What are your thoughts? I'd like to learn from you. Please comment in the comment section that how do you see building your process and making it leaner and efficient every single day, and then how do you turn that process into system, and then you develop your people with this process and system, that even average uh, producer becomes more efficient and more effective contributor with this whole process and system you develop. Until next time, God bless you. Next time we'll deal more on TVS. God bless you.